Today, let's get to listen to stories of triumph amidst failures, courage despite fear, strength through weakness, and even the occasional hopeful cheer from personal punny experiences. I am your host, RKaye, and this is the BetterU Podcast. What is up, fam? Welcome back to our podcast. It has been a while. It has been quite the hiatus, but we are back. And what better way to come back than on our fourth anniversary of the channel. It has been quite a while since RKaye Moves Daily has officially started on YouTube, and I am pretty nostalgic about it. 4 years it's not quite a lot of time, but it also is quite a lot of time. But right now, like I said, we are back for our podcast. And, I really just wanted to be sure that when I came back, I'd come back with a lot more stories to tell you guys. And as of now, we won't be having any guests on the show yet. For now, you would have to stay tuned and listen to little old me. But yes, when we talk about getting back on track, like I am right now with this podcast, we always have these moments in our own journey where we do get on track, get off of it, get back, get off it. Sometimes completely just get off it, never come back, right? So for the month of May, I wanted to really stick with the very basics, go back to the basics, and let you guys in on my very own stories, my very own experiences as well, when it came to starting out my journey and how things have really rated in terms of helping me get through training, get through just really dragging myself out of bed in the morning and pushing myself to really go at it. Because a lot of times we do have to really become more intentional, more aware that not every day will be 100% for us, right? So yeah, for the month of May, I did want to initially just have one episode about going back, about restarting your journey. But yeah, as I record this now, I think it would be a lot more digestible to cut each episode a little bit shorter and get you guys more in depth into how things should be. And speaking of how, today we shall not go with how. Oh, I got lost. I got lost in that moment. But no, we're not going to be discussing how we get to do and start our own journey. What we will be focusing on today is more the why. All right, and why, you ask? Because I think that really is one of the main stepping stones when we want to start our journey. It is remembering the reason why we want to see the change, want to transform, whether it be weight loss, muscle gain, or just clearly making it me time or for your mental well-being, right? Being able to continuously take part in a fitness journey, in becoming healthier, it is something that you really do commit to. And that term commitment is something that you shouldn't really take lightly, right? Some people think they can commit to something in the long run, but eventually what happens is they fall off the wagon because why? They forget the why. They forget the reason why they're even doing it. And so, based on my own experiences as well, there have been times when it really was lacking the reason for me staying in that state of why am I even doing this? Why is it important to me to stay on track, to take care of myself? And so it will always be a different story for everyone. It has been a different story for me each time through each phase of my life. And I believe that will also be the same for you. Whatever I mention here on this episode may not be something similar to what you are currently experiencing, but it may be something a little bit similar to other versions of yourself as well. And where I'm getting at here is, if you have seen, I think this is probably one of the perfect examples that I could state in this episode. If you guys have seen, well, for the purposes of not being copyrighted, I will just spell out the name of the show. The show is called REVENGE space BODY. All right, it's if you're watching, I just spelled it out on the screen for you. But yeah, that's the main, or one of probably the best examples that I could state for this episode for the lack of explanations, or for making better explanation to you guys today. All right, I don't know about editing this episode today, but yeah, I let me just tell you guys that for the next duration of all the episodes, I won't really be editing much, even if it's all me just talking here. But yeah, one of probably the best examples that you could look into when it comes to your why would be to search for that TV show. It's one of my favorite shows to just really, watch. If I want to binge watch something, I would actually go search for that show. And it really does help put things into perspective. I know that term that they use as the title of the show is a little bit negative in that sort of way. But to me personally, I think it's quite a strong word to use, but it also is a very useful term to use, because when you want to change for the better, when you want to transform yourself from point A to point B at least, you have to really have that certain characteristic of a fighter in you. You want to fight through the urge of forgetting about it. That's probably the term to use, because why do we even want to do something when we do not have that urgency in ourselves to create the change that we want? Sometimes we have particular issues that go within us that makes it hard for us to really dive into the change that we want. That's really one of also the issues that we need to discuss within ourselves. And so yeah, that is our main concern today. Why do people really go through or want to change? And for every fitness journey, it will be different. For every person, it will be different. And for each stage that you are at, it will be different. So what is the best way for you to really stick to your journey and your commitment to change? And one of the main things that you really need to do is you sit down, and it sounds crazy, but you really have to kind of talk to yourself and see where you're at currently. And if we go back to my sample of that TV show, some people might have that better reason to change because they want to show somebody else that they can make that change. Whether it's because your parent has always said that you're unhealthy, or maybe a partner, or maybe you're looking at someone who you know, not particularly a friend. I don't think you should be feeling negative about a friend, but maybe an acquaintance that you really feel isn't really all that good and you could be better than them, right? So as I mentioned, there's a little bit more of a negative factor to how that particular approach can be, all right? And yeah, the term is revenge, but sometimes it will be something useful for you to work on. Maybe other times it will not be as successful, but based on my own experience, I've experienced it quite a few times when I was younger, and nothing best pushes you than a heartbreak. I'm sorry. You can leave a comment down below if you agree with me, but yeah, maybe that could be a why for you. Maybe I want to change because I don't want to be that version of myself anymore. I want to change into somebody better. But of course, if that's yourself, you should always really think of yourself to be your better version or your best version. But yeah, that's probably a different episode that we can go into. But yes, for today, if you're looking into a reason to stick with your routine, to really stick with a certain program and just stay committed, that could be a very good reason for you to stay with it, right? Another great reason that I've seen as well when it comes to really pushing yourself to a committed change is some that I've seen with my previous clients who are parents, who are into their middle portion of adulthood. Their, level of maturity is maybe a little bit wiser, a little bit, looking into that deeper meaning in their lives. And a lot of them get into changing for the better, mainly because they want to live longer. That can also be a good reason to stick to a training routine. That could also be your why. So if you're the type of person who runs up a flight of stairs and just has to clutch their heart or their chest because they feel their heart is gonna pump out through their throat, that could be a very good reason for you to really look into changing your lifestyle. And that is also a key thing to note. Change will always be on basis of your lifestyle. And so as you grow older, there will be also adjustments through the change that you want. Maybe for now, as I mentioned a while ago, maybe for now it's because of a broken heart that you want change. Maybe by the time that you see or that you get married or have a significant other, maybe it becomes something more related to, oh, I want to grow older with this person, right? And then by the time you have children, it's because you want to see your kids grow, to see your kids have their own kids. And again, it's progress, all right? It's not just your own lifestyle change that will progress. It's also your life that is progressing. So that's why, as cliche as it sounds, I always stick to that description of a journey, fitness journey, because it is pretty much how the word is. You start from day one and you move on, hopefully not having an end day, because it is a continuous story that you have to go through. And so again, as I mentioned, today we are sticking to that question, why? So for you guys listening or watching me today, what is your why? And what is the best reason for you to really stick to changing for the better? Is there a particular reason? Is there a particular person? Is there a particular issue within you that you want to work on that will really keep you fighting and keep you going through your own journey? That is today's episode, guys. And yes, I know I am rambling right now. This is our first episode back, so we are a little bit all over the place, I know, but that is what it is, guys. All right, our episodes will never be. I will never top off any parts of any of the episodes, guys. This is me trying to explain to you as best as I can through my very own stories and my very own experiences as a fitness professional since many years back. But yes, so today, let this be one of the key ingredients that we get to bring along with us after listening to this episode, after watching this episode. I want you guys to recognize that each fitness journey will always be different, even if it's within you. All right, if you're talking about yourself, you will always have reasons why you want to keep fighting every day to stay fit, to stay healthy, to stay better than you were yesterday. And if you manage to pull through and think about what really will help you get along each day. I know it may be borderlining into motivation, and motivation versus discipline, something that we can discuss again in a different episode. But yes, your why can be between a motivational factor and a disciplinary factor for you. So whether you choose more motivation than discipline, at the end of the day, if you think about it and if you always ask yourself that question, why am I even doing this? When you are able to answer that question, you'll be able to rewire yourself to really recognize that, yeah, I do really need to do this today, even if I do not want to do this today. All right. So that is it for today's episode, guys. Again, welcome. And yes, I shall clap for myself and welcome myself back to the podcast world. All right, guys, first episode in for our anniversary month. And I hope that you guys do stay tuned to our following episodes for the rest of the month, because after the why, what comes next, right? Is it the how? Is it the what? Is it the when? So stay tuned for that. We'll have our next episodes. We are still doing each episode every Fridays, guys, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right. So that is it for today's episode. If you guys have any questions, comments, suggestions, just leave those down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys again for our next podcast episode. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Coach RKaye here, reminding you always to never give up on your movement journey because it's never too late to move.